So you might be thinking, okay, so these are the rules. So does these rules apply for juniors and seniors alike? Is it same for both the sides? And you are right to question that. That's a very valid question, because there are still some things which junior roles have to keep in mind versus seniors. Okay, so let's compare junior roles versus senior roles. So friends, let's now distill whatever we have discussed based on your current experience, because that is very important. So if you are a junior 0 to 6 years, I would be very happy to tell you that for you the impact is the lowest, and the framework which we are following right now is DOS. So for the juniors it is still D for depth. So don't start talking about outcomes, business and all that big words if you don't know the basics of a subnet, if you don't know how a DNS works, if you don't know how to run a subquery SQL statement. Go to the basics, learn Linux, learn Git, learn networking, learn everything. And I have given 0 to 6 years. That does not mean that even at 6 years you would be learning basics. In this particular level, your gears are your fundamentals. Imagine if you don't know anything about a car and someone gives you an automated car and you start driving it and it breaks down somewhere, then you would be on a no man's land. So just don't start using ChatGPT for every simple thing. Start putting your brain and start using your fundamental knowledge, build on it, because once that depth is created, then on top of it, as you will grow, you will build. And these ranges could vary, guys, so don't take it by heart. If you are at 6 years and I'm calling you a junior, don't take it by heart. It's just a range which we have to talk about. Okay, when it comes to mid-level, these are the people who will be most impacted and would get the best results if they start pivoting to this new strategy. And O stands for ownership. So we have already talked about ownership, but in this particular case, the mid-level people should move from the mindset of how do I deliver X. The new approach should be, should we be doing X? See how you flip the question and the whole narrative changes. So for example, people will not consider you exceptional if you're just saying that, okay, how do I deploy a virtual machine on cloud? Okay, or how do I spin up a Kubernetes cluster, or how do I make a data model, or how do I create a materialized view? All these are hows. Okay, and because of AI, these hows have lost their values because almost anybody can find it out. So where your edge comes in, you start asking, should we be using it at all? So when you are asking, should we be using Kubernetes? Should we be spinning up a load balancer? Should we be using an API gateway? Now what you are doing is, you are not simply doing something from an execution mindset. You are owning it. You are thinking on the problem statement. And this brings us to a very important point which I wanted to cover later, but let me just, because it has come to a right spot, the whole economy will shift from people who execute, and this applies to almost everyone, to people who think, because slowly and gradually AI will do a lot of execution for you. So you as a human will have to think, you have to ask better questions. Okay, and it is not applicable for only IT, it is across. So should we be doing it? Those kind of questions will come under ownership, and I'm not saying that the other two don't need it, but you will be the people who would get benefited the most. Seniors, 12 plus years, what you bring on the table, how you should approach this whole shift. The simple thing is, as for simplicity, because if this guy is doing everything, why you are needed? You are needed to simplify things. With all your experience, with all your contextual knowledge, with all your understanding of the business, what you bring on the table is removing the clutter, simplifying things. And when you start simplifying things, you get noticed immediately, because difficult part is to simplify things. People think that no, when I will make the most complex architecture on cloud, I will be considered senior. No, when you will remove complexity and make it as if even a kid could understand, then you are considered a senior experienced professional. So for you, simplicity, bring simplicity, remove the clutter, try to bring in your contextual knowledge and try to simplify things for the business, try to simplify things for your team, and that will be your edge. And that simplification will automatically boil down to reducing the risk, will automatically boil down to cost savings, everything. So I think for you, the one word which comes to my mind is simplicity. Seniors should target simplicity. Rest all will be done by these set of people. You are not required, to be very honest. I am not required. You are not required if you are a senior. So either you have to simplify things or get redundant. That's the harsh reality. We have to face it, because seniors are at the biggest risk of all these layoffs which have been happening and which will continue to happen. So it's high time that we understand that what we should bring on the table. So yes guys, this is the crux of how we should approach this whole shift, which I kind of researched and brought in front of you. One thing which people should not misunderstand is, when I said that certifications are not important, I'm not saying certifications are not important. I'm saying certifications for now will mostly, give you the interview round. Okay, that will happen because the ATS will still track your certifications, your keywords, your tools, and everything. But after that, your selection will hugely depend on whatever I am telling you. Like if you can start absorbing all this and try to make, and nothing would change if you sit around and think on these lines, which I will also do, then we will find our own answers.